Hey everybody, welcome back to This Old Trike. Today we are going to conclude the build that started my channel 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago, right in this same spot. I recorded my first video, and it was on this 1985 ATC 250R. So the purpose of this video is going to be to recap that, to go through a couple of the things, or all the things that I can in as quick a time as I can, and give shout outs to all the people that helped me build this and supplied parts to me, and just recap it. So let's get started. Hey everybody, I thought I'd just share with you today my 85 250R, tell the story about how I came to own this and what I've done to it over the years, and what my plans are for the future. Bought this particular three-wheeler in 1997, and it's the three-wheeler I've owned the longest of any of the ones in my collection. So like I mentioned, I bought this in 97. It was white when I got it. I didn't realize at the time that Honda didn't make a white 250R. I know people like to debate whether or not 87s exist. Those would have been white, but I figured if an 87 did exist, we would have seen more than just one picture of one over the years. But anyway, I digress. The plans are to take it back down to the frame. I have a powder coated super mirror red titled 85R frame that we're gonna swap everything over to. In the process, we're gonna redo the top end on the motor like I mentioned, and probably paint it, make it look fresh again. I did this all when I was like 17, so this was, tip-top technology when I was 17. Rattle can the frame red. Went a couple years, so I'm like maybe 19 when I'm out riding with my friend Jamie. He was saying how I did a good job, and I said, yeah, well, I wish I'd powder-coated the frame, and knowing what I know now, I didn't know then that that was even a thing. And he goes, hey man, I can help you with that. I do that for a living. And I said, really? I said, I'd like to do that. I'd like to make it the blue of the handlebars. They kind of look purple nowadays, but they were blue back in the 90s. He goes, we've got that color. I can do that for you. Man, what do you need me to do? Have it sandblasted? And he told me where to go, and then bring it to me, and I'll powder coat it for you. It's perfect. So I did all that, brought it to him. He called me a week or two later, said it's ready. Come get it. I gave him all the nuts and bolts, so everything could match. And I went and picked it up, and when he brought it out, it was baby blue. And I thought, oh man, that is not what I wanted, but it's fresh, it's clean. And I put it back together because we wanted to ride. And it's been blue since probably, I don't know, 99 or 2000, but we're gonna fix that problem. That's been it. And I've done very little to it since. I put those decals on the back, I put the headlight guard on, I picked that up somewhere. My grab bar is banged up from getting tossed many years ago. But I'm going to delete the gold. I've got a silver powdered swing arm to put on it and silver hubs. I think I'm going to put different rims and tires on it. Probably some Serwa tires just to give it the look of OEM. I'm not trying to mimic an 87. I don't like the white shrouds, so I do have a new set of red shrouds to put on it. I'll polish up the tank. And what's funny is this seat had a dog ear rip in it that I sewed up 20 years ago, and it's still holding. Just wanted to document it before, get the before walk around before we go through it, and show you what we do with it after a few weeks or months or however long it's going to take in the shop. But okay, we're gonna kick this off. I gotta do some cleanup first. Shop is messy. super duper messy. Just gonna be real. Just gonna be real with all you people. Let you know I'm not perfect. Those are carbon fiber white fenders from Meyer. They're dirty from sitting under there and getting dust on them. Those are gonna go on the back. The front fender is sitting there on the shelf. I've got a 85 seat out in the other room. I've got a couple 86 seats there that I don't know that I'll put those on. I'll probably put the 85 on. PRM grab bar is gonna go. It's got a sad side on it over there, but I've got a brand new grab bar sitting on the shelf over here from ATD ATC. Greg Burton up in Maine makes those. Great guy. Get all your grab bars. He's got grab bars and skid plates for many different models of machines, so you need something, get that from him. It might be go time. So after about maybe an hour, probably 45 minutes or so, this is where we're at. Probably about halfway. Things are very dirty. It hasn't been this naked in at least 21 years. It is done. Torn down. I think took about 2 hours. Not fully. Like the swing arm is still together. The forks are still on the front tire. But the frame is bare. And I only sheared one bolt. So I'll take this frame and get it powdered, probably. Get that bolt extracted. Or not, I don't know. Maybe she'll just sit around. But she served her purpose. Thank you, Baby Blue. You were loved. Oh, hello. Wow. Tell you what, come inside. This was the baby blue subframe. I'm sorry, the baby blue frame. I've had it powder coated red, and it wasn't until I got it powder coated and got it home that I realized this subframe was bent from me crashing about 20 years ago. So you can see one of those is off the ground, one isn't on the ground. But my plan with this is to get a couple of my burly friends over and put that on that towel on the concrete. Have my buddies secure the body of the frame, and I can use those pieces of square tube as kind of levers to get that right side back up into position. Because there's no way my brand new grab bar was gonna mount onto that. This is my motor. I took the top end off to measure my piston. Measured 66.33 millimeters, plus or minus, give or take. But I'm gonna split the cases, redo bearings and seals, so get another 35 years out of it. So the frame's looking good. Ready to go. This is a swing arm from a different machine that I acquired a while ago. I had that powder coated silver. That's the one that came off the machine, so that'll go into my spare parts. I'll be reusing the axle. This is a +4 extended Durablu axle that I bought in 1997, I guess. I'll be reusing the brake. That was purchased right from my dealer. The rotor mount. So I'm going to replate some of these parts. I want to rebuild the shock. I might send that to my pal, Pat Farnham, to redo if he's still taking on work. But what I've done is I'm deleting the gold. So those hubs are gold. I've got some hubs that I've had powdered gold. I'm not going to be reusing these sweet Kenda Vipers that I bought a long time ago. And tonight I decided I'm going to strip the forks down, and I think I'm going to polish the lowers. I just drained the oil out of this one. You can see the nasty mess in there, but before I do the next one, I wanted to show that to you guys. I'm taking my my old fork boots off. These were Daystar, Dynastar, whatever, cheapy ones from Dennis Kirk a long time ago. You can see they've held up very, very well. I just took my brake off, and this fork is ready to come apart. Let's see it. This oil has been in here since about 1997, and it looks nasty. It's a gray color, medium gray. Smells. So I heat up the end and was given to it, and I think I just buggered myself because my Allen head bolt stripped out on the inside. So right now we're gonna have to reset and weld a nut on the end of that bolt to get it out, so we can proceed. So that's just great, no big deal. But I did want to mention I'm going to be putting these Delrin bushings in place of the pivot bearings, and these were made by Brian Malusian. He's in Missouri, and you can look him up on Facebook to get yourself some. I've got some for 87 200X that I'll be using also, and he makes them for 350X, I believe. But Brian with a Y, Bryan Melugin. You can get some for yourself. They're a good price too. But I'm gonna have to reset, figure out what I'm doing from here. Maybe I'll just get out my welder and make this happen. To say that I'm an amateur welder is giving me a lot of credit, I think. But the third nut I welded onto that stud, I got it to come out. Combined with the heat and finally getting a good weld on it, it worked. You can see the copper gasket coming out. So we're back in business. So this is where we're going to stop for tonight. Everything is pulled apart. The only thing I noticed that's missing is I didn't have that washer in between the upper and lower spring on my one fork. Got my workbench over here now, and on it we have the forks for the 250R. We ordered genuine Honda fork seals, and I can't even think of what the name is. We had one over here. This washer goes between these two springs on an 85. 86 is different. It's one long continuous spring. And I was missing one on one side, so they don't sell this anymore. I had to find that on eBay. And as you recall, we had an issue with one of the bolts, and so I bought 2 new bolts and new copper washers for that. Okay, we have completed that job. Okay. I gotta admit, I'm honestly mildly terrified. I've never done this. These are Christmas specials at Trike. Has it become obvious yet that I really don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm just trying not to mess up. I'm just trying to pay attention to what comes out of where, and thankfully I have this video that doesn't really show much of what's going on to help me get it back together. So there's that, and I'm just hoping for the best out of all this. Well, now all I gotta do is pull these bearings out and clean off the gaskets. Man, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, this is great. All right, decisions have been made on what I'm doing with this thing. I saved you all the time-lapse pleasure of watching me remove all the bearings and scrape all the gaskets off. I did all the gaskets with the razor blade, and I'm leaving it. I could do a little bit more on this, actually. I'm not quite done with that. But I'm going to leave it before I gouge things, because you can do that really easy with a steel razor blade on aluminum cases. What I'm going to do is send these to Mike Pomgren. He is going to vapor hone them. So they are going to be nice bright silver. I'm going to do all new Honda bearings and seals. This one's got to soak a little bit more. It's being stubborn. But center cases, case covers, jug will all be aluminum, not black, because this machine isn't an OEM restoration. This is just a redo of what I did as a teenager in 1997 and 1998. And I've deleted the gold, so you see the silver hub. The rear swinger is going to be replaced. I've got the silver rear swinger there. I've got silver hubs that I've powder coated. I was going to powder coat the motor to match, but I like the idea of it being vapor honed by Mike, and I think that will be a very nice touch. And once that's done, it's just got to be put back together, and then this will be finished off. And oh my gosh, 2 years. It has been 2 years I've been waiting to do this. So that's it for this chapter. These are going to get boxed up and sent to Mike, and next time you hear about this, it will be an unboxing. So stay tuned for that. Probably be a good day to take a little rip outside, or maybe just stay inside and do a puzzle. Hey babe, would you mind if I did a puzzle in the kitchen?
Why would I care if you did a puzzle in the kitchen? What's that, babe?
Puzzle.
So what's that?
It's just more puzzle.
What's in there?
Nothing.
What kind of puzzle is this?
It's one of those 3D ones.
What do you need those for?
So what kind of puzzle is this? Yeah, I'm not lying. It is a 3D puzzle. And it is a puzzle. But if you remember, like Palmgren, vapor honed all my 250R cases. Did a lot of cool stuff. So that's in that box. 250R cases we're talking. And I have a whole bunch of brand new Honda parts to put in. I've got my crank right here. Got some tools I threw in, new piston. I've got an engine stand from Rob Wicks, Wicked Metal Designs, and the key to the whole operation, gray towels. So if you ever look at Mike Palmgren's Instagram post, which you should, or follow him on Facebook, which you should, or buy from him and look at pictures of his, you'll see everything has gray towels in the background. So I have a feeling these are key to the operation. So what I'm going to do is lay these out and spread out what I'm working with right here in the kitchen. But thankfully, I remember where all these things go. That's a joke. I took this motor apart almost a year ago. Seriously, 11 months ago. But look at how exciting this is. This is like jewelry. So these are powder coated. Based on Mike's recommendation, you know, any sort of footwear on a vapor honed surface is going to show a mar, and then you're never going to get it back. But this is going to be more resilient to wear. Okay, so I ordered this from Rob Wicks. Rob Wicks runs Wicked Metal Designs, and he's based out of West Virginia, I'm pretty sure. I crossed out his address, so I can't check, but I'm pretty sure it's West Virginia. He has a website. Just Google Wicked Metal Designs, and you'll find him. He sells a lot of cool foot pegs that you would want if you were racing. Pretty gnarly. You know, for everyday driving, you know, riding your machine, you probably don't need them unless you want to up the cool factor. But he, I don't know what agreement they had, but he makes the engine stands that Dave Moore designed. So he sends them. Minimal assembly required. This is the base. So he's got 2 hinges here. I just got to pop out these hinge pins and I'll be in business. Complimentary keychain, 250R. So here's the top piece. So it's just 2 pieces. On business. So it rocks like that for when you're dropping your gears in, and then it stands up when it needs to. And the weight of your motor kind of holds it in place. Cotter pin holds things in place, but simple. Built out of nice steel. Can't wait to use it. So my video is not to be the instruction video for this because Michael Sabo did such an amazing job with Dave Moore. So if you want to know how to do this, go to these videos. But this is the one I'm going to start with. That's part 1. It doesn't show up very well on the camera, but I'm going to have this on in the background while I slip my cases onto the stand and get this thing going. And what's cool is, while I'm cooking up this motor, my wife, who you can just see a little bit there, is cooking lunch. So we're both working in the kitchen. How awesome.
What's going on, guys? I'm Mike Sabo, and this is Dave Moore. And today we're here at Dave Moore Racing, and we're going to build a 250R motor.
So we've just completed this little assembly platform to restore this on, or to reassemble this on. But today we're gonna turn this into a roller. Bennett's gonna help me. We're gonna build some memories. We've got the vapor honed triple trees here that Mike Palmgren did for us. I gotta put the bearing back on the bottom there. That shock has been restored by Pat Farnham for me. So we're gonna keep moving. Stay tuned. I like the look of the motor. It's bright and nice, and I think it's going to look beautiful. So, that last video was January 28th. Today is March 24th. And this thing is still exactly how I left it. Almost 2 full months. What was the holdup, Preston? What took so long? Well, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking. I sent off all that stuff to be plated. And let me show you what came back. Today, Kaylin and I are, oh, where is she? There she is. We're out in the shop, and she is sorting. She's sorting all the plated hardware that we got back. So, what's the date? Today is April 6th, I think. If we think about it, Palin, you know, the time-consuming parts are really done. The engine's built. I just got to put everything back in the swing arm, shock. There's some cleaning. I got to clean up the wiring harness.
We've done something like this before.
We've done something like this before. Daddy always has a tendency to do something like this. But so this is aluminum. This is cast. So that was zinced. This was vapor honed. And my shock, as you remember from the Pat Farnham shock rebuild video, here's my shock. The caps I just harvested will go up here. And then we will slide all this into the swing arm. And I did get the reeds in. I did get the carburetor on. This is from 223 cycles, if it would focus. So we pulled the axle. I tried to do a little, oh, gimbal, come on. Oh, there you go. Tried to do a little hand milling with my Dremel, but I didn't like what I was getting. So brought it to work, and we milled this part right here all the way around. So that gives it a little relief. So I'm going to slide it in and see how it looks. But thank you, Smokey, from work, for handling that for me. He didn't trust me to do it on my own, so I'm going to put a little grease back on those bearing races and get after it. Let's talk about these. Got these from Serwa Tires, and we know those are Travis Gisclair and Matt Serwa. You can get these. They have a website. This is the website link right here. These rims I got from my buddy Vinny Staffa, Power Sports Surplus. We'll give him a shout out, even though I haven't seen him in a long time. But you saw in the last video, or the last section of the video, I put a new carrier in, and I had an issue with interference. So we took it back to work. That one's got a little more gap. I guess it's got a little play in it, because this does wiggle. Well, it wiggles before you put it in, because the only thing holding it is the pressure of the bearing this way, and then that circlip. But but we clear. It's not touching. Hey everybody, welcome back to This Old Trike. Today I think we have the conclusion of my 85 250R build. We've been through a lot with this project. Let's do a very quick recap. Guys, a lot has happened. And I haven't been keeping the camera on. So I hope you can forgive me. But I have got the front axle put in, the new ATC front axle. I've got my new lug nuts on, my Woody Helton rims, my Serwa tires, my Mike Palmgren brake hose all the way up to my Mike Palmgren master cylinder, and the brakes are bled. I do not have my clutch perch on yet. Radiators installed with the plastic guards installed. New FMF pipe installed. Curdy carb installed. Hooked to my airbox. I'm running the original K&N air filter that I bought for this back in the 90s, but I'm going to switch to a uni, I think. It's been pointed out to me that I put my sprocket on backwards. I'm going to fix that, but not tonight. Airbox is in, wiring harness is in, coolant has been put in, motor oil's been put in, silencer is put on. I've got to make a couple fine-tune adjustments. This bolt isn't in yet. I don't know why. ATC spacers here put in. I gotta know, will it run? Will it run? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my camera back here, and I'm gonna pull it off the table, and I'm gonna put the tank on and put some gas to it, and we're gonna have the moment of truth. This is the official moment of truth.
Okay, we're gonna see it happen. We're gonna put a gut in everybody.
Come on now. So there you have it. almost 26 years later. We're still going. Still got life in us. And I think in the next video, we'll finish it off. We'll do a full rundown. We'll do a recap of different steps of the process that I went through. And then we'll have it done for you. But so there you have it. That's 2021 to present day and in a really short time. So as we close this out, just want to point out a couple things. I've got a list of all the products I put into this, you know, all the custom stuff, all the cool stuff that you guys want to hear about. So I'm just going to point those out as I walk through it and just do a recap on what we did. Okay, so it all started with tearing it down, right? So the first things that we had to do were to have the frame powder coated, and that was done by my buddy Mike Wood at Capital Region Customs. He did all my powder coating. That included the swing arm, the frame, the hubs, motor mount brackets, And that's all on this machine that I can think of. There was a couple other powder coating things that I'll mention, but I want to move on next to my fenders. These are the carbon fiber white from Meyer USA, Jesse Meyer. Got those in a custom fender order back in like 2017 or 18. Benny Staffa runs those on Honda Hoarder Facebook group every so often. He's gearing up to do another one, so that should be starting quick. So that's a good chance to get all the custom colors that you can't normally get unless you want to buy like 5 sets at a time. So I thought they looked cool, and I want to dispel any thoughts that I was trying to make a 1987 clone. I was not trying to do that. I didn't want white shrouds. I didn't want red fork boots. I wanted to do a better looking version of what I did back in high school with better skills and more money. Next, there was some vapor honing done. The center cases, I sent my engine fully disassembled over to Mike Pomgren. He vapor honed my center cases. Let's get around on the other side. My center cases and my cylinder, so that is vapor honed aluminum. Mike encouraged me to powder coat the case covers, so he did that powder coating along with the sprocket guard. That's all original pieces to the motor. He put in my bearings and my water pump, and then I assembled the motor myself, so I was pretty excited to do that. He also vapor honed my triples, and let me consult my list here. I think that's all Mike did on the motor, but that work was done by Vintage Motorsports. He also supplied, I got the front brake reservoir from him, the brake hose, the handlebars. I can't remember what else, but I'll keep moving down my list. The rear shock was rebuilt by my buddy Pat Farnham and his son, John Farnham. So they took turns, or assisted each other with that. And I did a shock build video with Pat, so if you're wondering how that process goes, you can reference that video. The carburetor came from none other than 223 Cycles, Curdy Eldridge. And that's the one thing left that Curdy and I've got to get into and figure out what the heck's going on, because it's running what seems to be a little rich. So he has said he might come up and do a weekend with me, and we might plan some riding around that and get this thing dialed, because it's not dialed yet. But 223 Cycles, Curdy Eldridge for all your carburetor work and rebuild kits and things like that. Let's talk about these awesome foot pegs. These came from Rob Wicks, Wicked Metal Designs. Pretty bad to the bone. You don't want to catch your flip-flop wrong on those. You might want to step up and get yourself a pair of Hey Dudes if you're gonna rock those foot pegs. But Rob's awesome. Rob also made the engine stand that we used to rebuild the motor in my kitchen. So that's a cool video if you haven't seen that one. The rear grab bar, the wide desert style, brought to you by none other than ATD ATC. They also supplied me with the front axle and the axle spacers. And you might not even know about this product. These spacers that always get all funky looking. They're white on a factory build, but they give you white or black options. I went with black because everything else kind of looks black. But let's see what else is on my list. As you can see, this is a little dirty. We were riding it in some wet conditions, so I got a little dirty. Swing arm pivot bushings. So these aren't the normal bearings that you're used to. These are Delrin bushings, brought to you by Brian Malusian. Brian makes those, and I don't know if he's still on eBay or if you just got to find him on Facebook, but I'll confirm that and overlay that info for you. The tires, of course, brought to you by Serwa Tires. They are the best copies, the best reproduction clone tires you can get. So if you're doing a build and you want that OEM look, you got to reach out to Serwa Tires. If I wanted an OEM style grab bar, I would have got that from Serwa Tires. They have a whole host of things that they offer. So the front rim, Woody Helton, who has some affiliation to the tire company I can't think of, the rim company, but I'll overlay that. I'll remember by the time I post this video. But he did that custom rim for me. The rear rims I got from my buddy Vinny Staffa. They are not a matched set, but they're cool enough, I think. I bought the rear rims long before I bought the front. I didn't know what I was going to do, but Vinny's business is Power Sports Surplus LLC. So if you're looking for reproduction stuff, he sells Meyer fenders too. There's a lot of things on his website. Check it out. The engine skid plate, brought to you by none other than Noah Olson at Swamp Outlaw. Not only lift kits for big reds and hardtails, but you can get goodies like 250R skid plates. I think he sells them for 350X. He's got a lot of things. Great guy too. I mentioned the handlebars, the front master, the brake hose, Vintage Motorsports. The rear brake hose. Oh yes, let's come back here. The rear brake hose, the coolant bottle. That's also Vintage Motorsports, Mike Pomgren. You know, because you never find a coolant bottle that looks as clean as something like that. You need to get a new one. The decals. Most of the decals on this machine are from DDR Slap. Scott Sansucci up in New Hampshire. One I didn't put on yet is my frame decal. I went to Bruce Allman at Blue Line for that because he can get the metallic look. And maybe Scott can now. At one point I don't think that was an option, but we went with clear, a clear background on the Pro Link so the silver would shine through. Went with clear on this so you could see the carbon fiber shine through. So pretty cool. And the OEM hardware and nuts and bolts, and you know, when I needed a petcock or whatever, if it was still available from Honda and I wanted to get it, I would get that from Rocky Mountain ATV. Not sponsored by them or given anything by them, but they do seem to have the best prices on most things, and they have free shipping over $45. I did all the plating through a company in Arizona that Rex Slaughter told me about, so I'll give a shout out to Rex for tipping me off to that. Some of this stuff like the axle and I guess just the axle at this point I bought way back in the day from Dirt Wheels magazine. It's Durablue +4 axle. The skid plate came from my buddy Ryan Mallon. I don't know what brand it is. It came with a bunch of stuff that he got and he didn't want it, and I asked him if he'd sell it to me and he said yes sir. So that's how I came home with the skid plate. Radiators were an eBay purchase, I believe. And that is everything I can think of that we put into this build. But like I said, it is not 100%. It's not where I want it to be. Me and Curdy got to get together and get that carburetor dialed in. Stay tuned for some riding videos and things like that once we get that part done. I'm just very excited to have this back in the stable. This is... My mom's calling me. Call you back, Mom. This is the machine I've owned the longest. I bought this in '97. So I mentioned that in probably each one of my videos. So this is a special build, and just happy to be finally done with it. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys later.